veganism. So here's the situation. With almost all of this stuff, but particularly the animal-related stuff, you have to draw a distinction between small farms and what's happening corporate-wise. And so, should you have a cow? Should that cow give milk? Naturally. Should that cow not be being shot up with chemicals and antibiotics and hormones and whatnot, but just giving milk the way that cows naturally do? And you drink that milk after the cow's calf drinks it, for whom it's actually produced. And you're not lactose intolerant. And the cow is being fed healthy organic food. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. In Indian culture, milk is considered nectar. And I'm not a scientist of it, but I've got a great faith in the science of Ayurveda. I think there's a lot of wisdom there. I'm not an expert in it at all, but I've got a lot of respect for the ancient science of Ayurveda, which emphasizes the nectar quality of milk. But now that's of cows who were being taken care of by people who loved them. And cows that were not being killed when they stopped giving milk. And cows, cows who were part of the family. So on that level, I don't think there is anything in my moral world. There's nothing inherently wrong with drinking milk. Cows do produce more milk than their calves can drink. People who have farms just know this. We have a Goshala here. The calves all drink first. When they're done, there's plenty of milk left to come and have everybody in the ashram drink. I mean, the rule is calves drink first. When they're done, everybody gets what's left. As long as you keep milking her, the milk keeps coming. The problem is that that's not how most of the world works. And so the dairy industry has become incestuously involved and connected to the meat industry. You cannot have milk without having beef. Because the minute that those cows stop their peak of milk production, they're not kept. I mean, if you go to our Goshala here, it's running at about, 20-25% milk-giving cows and a big percent of, old age home for cows and some, child care for cows. So we have pre-milk giving, we have post-milk giving, and some who are milk giving. But that's not how companies run. And so the cows who were your milk cows become beef, not when they've died a natural death, but when they stop peak production. When a new cow is brought in and they're no longer needed. I mean, it's all, profits and loss in the books. It has nothing to do with the cows. So the milk industry in much of the developed, with bold quotation marks, capital large font quotation marks around it, of the developed world, is actually an industry of violence. It's an industry of violence. Now, the methane, which is not something that I mentioned before, but aside from the carbon dioxide of cutting down the rainforest to graze the cows themselves, if you've ever driven by a cow farm with lots and lots and lots of cows in a very small area, the stench. That's methane. And so the production of cows for giving us milk and giving us beef is actually contributing to the methane. So the United Nations released a report several years ago called Livestock's Long Shadow that unequivocally states that the animal agriculture industry is the single greatest contributor to global warming. So when I step off the grounds of this ashram, unless I happen to be stepping into someone's home who happens to have a cow, I mean, we do know a few people who keep cows at home. It's a sweet aspect of Indian life, even in cities. I mean, people we stay with in Mumbai have a cow. But most people don't. So I'm vegan. I drink the milk on the ashram. Vegan everywhere else. It's a matter, and we'll end it here. It's really a matter of choice and using my power. There's a lot of things in the world I'm powerless over. But where I spend my money isn't one of them. And I don't have a magic wand. I can't make it all better. I wish I did. My friends used to call me a vegetarist. I was quite vehement about it. I've gotten a little bit softer and gentler as the years have gone by, but what I know at least is I do have power over where my dollars or my rupees go. And the idea of putting my money in the pockets of people who are harming cows is not a choice I want to make. It's not a choice I believe in. And if it means, drinking black tea, yeah, it doesn't taste as good. Absolutely, doesn't taste as good. I very much look forward to getting back and having milk tea. Drank soy milk for a while till I learned you're not supposed to have soy, the GMOs, this one, so you have to give up soy milk. Okay. Right? What are you going to do? So in a few places in, California, they'll say to you, well, here's our 3 varieties of almond milk and 5 varieties of coconut milk, and then you can have it with something. But otherwise, you're drinking black tea. It's all right. Because for me, the fullness inside of living in concert with my values and my beliefs is so much more fulfilling than how a cup of tea with milk tastes. It's so much of a more lasting sense of fullness. So it's a choice I would encourage everyone to make. Do that. Insist on buying organic. Insist on buying fair trade. You can do it. In most parts of the world, it's easy. In all parts of the world, it's possible. You may not be able to shop in every store. You may not be able to get as much bang for your buck. Yes, it's more expensive. But it's a value. Whether it's our food, whether it's our clothes. Every time you buy something, the question is the cotton organic? Is it not organic? Well, and if it's not organic, what you know is, in the production of this, toxic chemicals went into the ground that ended up in someone's water supply. The farmers who are picking cotton end up with very, very high rates of cancer, with very high rates of birth defects with their children. This is the other face of consumerism that we don't see because there's not quite as much money in that as there is in regular marketing. But if we take personal vows, and it doesn't have to be black or white, it's not, that you're a horrible person if you ever buy something that's not organic or fair trade, but the question is, do you have a choice? Do you need it? And what matters most to you? And what I have found is the inner joy that comes with living a life. It's not a perfect footprint. I travel a lot. I'm in way more airplanes than the environmentally friendly part of me would like to be in. But until God gives me wings, you do the best you can. But to make choices in alignment with your beliefs is actually a very, very powerful tool to living a life at peace that a lot of us don't realize.